Shalom, shalom. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Shalom. Lord willing, the brother required Quam. He'll be jumping on here real soon. Kind, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We just gonna through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, go through this interview. Let me make it full screen. Make this full screen and go through some of these points here. You know, like I always say, man, first and foremost, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushua, Ba'Hashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Aki. I'm out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushua, and sincerity and truth. Brother Ariella. And like I said, Lord willing, here in a minute, the brother Require Quam will be jumping on. And what I did was I watched this full interview with Vladimir Putin and Tucker Carlson. Good interview. The first part of the interview, Putin basically goes through a whole history of basically Eastern Bloc Europe. He goes over a whole history of Eastern Bloc Europe and what's kind of led up to the powers that be and kind of the relationships of the powers that be currently. And then Tucker starts to ask more questions and he starts to give more details to the geopolitical ramifications of where Russia is, why they're positioning themselves, where they've positioned themselves, and you know, kind of like the mindset as a leader that Putin envisions Russia. And as brother Mahalaya, kind of, hey, we had to put it together. Me and Raquire Quam, you know, we on different time schedules. So we have to find a time that actually works for both of our schedules. We was gonna do this last weekend, but you know we're hours apart, so getting it to work can sometimes be a little bit difficult. But we agreed on this time for today, and you know, making it work. Shalom,
Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Yabashim Yashai, Harakal Kadash Barakatham. You can hear me?
Yeah, kind of. I got you.
All right, man.
How you feeling, bro?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling nice.
Kind. Yeah, man. I was just kind of giving a little brief intro to this interview before we got everything kicked off. I'm pretty much ready to go. Did you have any opening statements? Anything that you want to say?
Hey, Kal Halal Yahabasham Yabashai, man. Like we always say, we give all glory and praises to Yabasham Yabashai. This is his word. The Algo is all about uplifting the Lord's word, man. Prophecy, geopolitics. It's all his will. So yeah, let's get it in.
Kind. What I did was I skipped to this first 28-minute marker, and he kind of starts to go in on America and everything like that. And so if there's any points that you ever want to make, just go ahead and holler at me. You know, I'll pause it and we'll go from there. All right.
Which points he starting off here?
This first point on this one is, look at my notes. It
Because
says,
was we gonna? I don't know if we got time. Because from 25, he kind of goes into the fall of the Soviet Union and that era.
yes, leading into minute 29. And you know what that goes into with NATO and everything.
Yeah. Did you want to start from 25 or just skip that bit then?
I wanted to kind of skip that bit because it's a little bit redundant. He's going to touch on it a little bit more throughout.
Okay, cool. All right,
You
no
know,
worries.
and he's going to talk about the rise of Russia later on in the interview as well. So I felt
All
like it
right,
was a little redundant.
all right. No issues, man. Let's get it
All right.
popping. I know we're short on
If you
time.
want to make a kind of like a backdrop point on that, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's um. No, but no, we'll go into it. We'll go into it. We'll see where it goes. If we got time, I would touch on when we get the prophecy. We'll touch on the Truman Doctrine if we get time.
Okay, you talking about Revelation 13:13, right? That's what I'm
Uh,
assuming. Or you talking about Ezekiel?
It will be the third world coming quickly. That'll be Revelations what is it, 9? But we'll get to it anyway. Let's just get it popping.
Okay.
That happened, except to say that the West fears a strong Russia, but we have a strong China the West does not seem very afraid of. What about Russia, do you think, convinced policymakers they had to take it down?
Запад боится сильного Китая больше, чем сильной России.
The West is afraid of strong China more than it fears a strong Russia, because Russia has 150 million people and China has 1.5 billion population, and its economy is growing by leaps and bounds, or 5% a year. It used to be even more. But that's enough for China. As Bismarck once put it, potentials are the most important. China's potential is enormous. It is the biggest economy in the world today in terms of purchasing power parity and the size of the economy. It has already overtaken the United States quite a long time ago, and it is growing at a rapid clip. Let's not talk about who is afraid of whom. Let's not reason in such terms. And let's get into the fact that after 1991, when Russia expected that it would be welcomed into the brotherly family of
Boom. So now it's talking about the kind of like the political relationship between the East and the West, with Russia as a headline. And he's talking about 1991. And this is a pivotal time of, you know, the mindset that happened after the Cold War. You know,
civilized nation.
You about to say something, Mark?
Now, since for brothers who don't know, the Cold War was from 1947 to 1991.
Mm-hmm.
That's the period of the Cold War.
God.
Nothing like this happened. You tricked us. I don't mean you personally when I say you. Of course, I'm talking about the United States. The promise was that NATO would not expand eastward, but it happened 5 times. There were 5 waves of expansion. We tolerated all that. We were trying to persuade them. We were saying, please don't. We are as bourgeois now as you are. We are market economy and there's no communist party power. Let's negotiate. Moreover, I have also said this publicly before. There was a moment.
So boom. So you had basically a time period where after the Cold War ended, it was supposed to be more peace agreements, more financial and economic agreements between the two sides. And Putin is saying y'all didn't hold up to y'all part of the agreement, which was to stop NATO expansion on the border in Eastern Bloc Europe. That didn't happen. In fact, it increased more. He said it increased 5 times.
Can I get some precepts on that?
Absolutely.
Yes, Psalms 55 and 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You know? Yeah, because brothers got to understand, and we ain't really got the time, otherwise we would go into the deep history of the Cold War, but the Cold War was deep, man. Mm-hmm. You're talking about 1945, these nations were allies. And then within 2 years after the end of World War II, they were now enemies, pursuant to the Truman Doctrine. And it was a war, so-called war of ideologies, communism versus capitalism. And they were basically, most of the wars in that century were proxy wars between the Soviet Union and America. You know, and that's where this whole idea of American freedom, that propaganda came from, where they were basically, the Truman Doctrine was saying that they were freeing the world. Communism was enslaving the world, and they were going to use capitalism and democracy to free the world, which we know is a lie, it's a farce. No, they were establishing their own empire. And so that warfare, because the scriptures say, what Revelations, the 11th chapter, the third world coming quickly, they've been at war all that time. And I believe, what year was the Cuban Missile Crisis? I'm trying to think of when that was, actually.
70, right?
Cuban Missile Crisis. What was that? That was
Okay, it says 1962.
right, 1962. So all through that period, 1962 and onwards, the world was actually in great fear that nuclear war was going to happen. You know, the movies, the popular media, in the school system, they did drills. You know, you can go on YouTube, you can look up actual info drills they would do in the schools if there was a nuclear crisis. You know, they'd be infomercials. If a nuclear bomb hits your house, get under the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a serious thing that was embedded into the minds of the people, the fear of the end of the world by a nuclear destruction. Something I didn't grow up with because I was born 1988. So when I was growing up, I didn't grow up with the fear of nuclear destruction. But if you were born in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you grew up with the fear of nuclear destruction. Okay? So what happened in 1991 with the fall of the Soviet Union and this so-called declaration of peace was pivotal. And that leads into the scripture that says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction, because America basically feigned peace with Russia. And Russia tried to go along with that peace. But as he's going to break down, it really wasn't peace. It was false.
God.
But it's prophecy that it would be that way, so that the bear would have to have hooks put in it to come back into that aggressive stance.
Right. Because basically, when you listen to this interview, there was nothing Vladimir Putin could do to stop the progression of war between the two sides. As much as he wanted to try to do peace agreements, economic agreements, the minds of the kings of the earth wasn't having it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this wasn't going to
Yeah.
go down, and we ended up having to do 2 parts on this thing. Required calm down. I'm thinking about it. You know.
Yeah, it's heavy, man. It's heavy because he was really breaking it. Like when I was watching it, it was just prophecy. He was, and you can see that, you know, they was trying to find a way to make it work. But guess what, man? The spirit of the Lord is they gonna have to go at it. Even now, this is the end of it. Is they gonna have to go at it. You know. Yeah, we could keep going, man. I know we got a lot, but it's so juicy, man.
Yep, I got this scripture real quick. Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are physicians of no value. You know, so there's always been the history of Esau breaking peace agreements, breaking treaties, breaking UN resolutions. You know, human rights violations. You know, but they purport themselves as the peacemakers
and the freedom bringers.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
When
Когда серая кошка пробежала.
a certain rift started growing between us. Before that, Yeltsin came to the United States. Remember, he spoke in Congress and said the good words. God bless America. Everything he said were signals. Let us in. Remember the developments in Yugoslavia before the Yeltsin was lavished with praise? As soon as the developments in Yugoslavia started, he raised his voice in support of Serbs, and we couldn't but raise our voices for Serbs in their defense. I understand that there were complex processes underway there, I do, but Russia could not help raising its voice in support of Serbs, because Serbs are also a special and close to us nation, with Orthodox culture and so on. It's a nation that has suffered so much for generations. Well, regardless, what is important is Yeltsin expressed his support. What did the United
Can we stop that there? Can we get Revelations 13 on that one?
Yeah, I'm already holding. I want him to finish up this last little sentence because it goes right into Revelation 13:13.
Salakia.
States do. In violation of international law and the UN Charter, it started bombing Belgrade. It was the United States that let the genie out of the bottle.
It was the United States that let the genie out of the bottle. He said, we were trying to get along, but look what happened. They went and started bombing. And now I put it in the chat, a brief history on that war, the breakup of Yugoslavia. and some of the things that happened over there. All right. But this highlights this scripture that we have here, Revelation 13 and 13. Actually, I started at 12. And it said, and if you want to make a point, you just make your point, quiet corner. Okay. You know, just cut me off. It says, Revelation 13 and 12 says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, talking about Rome, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, right? That's Rome coming back again, right? And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And this is what he's able to do with those same Roman powers, right? With those NATO military powers, make fire come down, and that's what happened in that war.
Yeah, and it was. There's actually video on YouTube of that. It was crazy, man. They destroyed that place. And what was significant about that is, remember, what was NATO supposed to be? NATO was supposed to be a defensive pact. Keyword, defense.
Right.
Meaning, if one member of NATO was attacked by Russia, then all of the member states would join in aid to that country and defend Europe. But here it is, we have NATO operating offensively, like an empire, like the Romans would do, send the legions. So that's why I'm saying it's exercising the power of the first beast, because now these nations are coming together to conquer.
The next video I'll show you will be a highway bridge attack in Serbia, 5 miles north of the Kosovo border. This is the Raska Bridge, F-15Es with 2,000-pound laser-guided bombs. This is at night. It looks like day because of the infrared, and he destroys that bridge.
Make fire come down.
That was 3 days ago. We're not focusing on the population of the Serb civilian population. We're focusing on the military, and that's Milosevic's military. Any of those things that help him sustain his capability to engage in repressive acts against the Kosovo Albanians that has to do with military targeting is fair game. We've gone through those before, and it's regrettable if it's affecting their civilian population. But I think that's in the hands of Milosevic, and that's his decision to make. You can see in the cursor, he's tracking the building. On this film, I want you to notice on the bottom, just before his bomb impacts, in about 4 seconds, you'll see 4 more bombs from other aircraft into the screen that hit their targets. And these here have a direct hit, all those bombs.
Boom. So he exercises the same power from that beast before, you know? Yeah, something up.
Yeah, and then like I said, that was a trigger, like Putin saying, they're like, wait, hold on, what's happening here?
Okay, I'll come down just 1 second. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was saying now that was a trigger for Putin now, and well, to Russia to kind of start waking up, but they didn't fully start waking up. We're gonna get the precept until Putin came into power, really the second time. But from the first time Putin came into power, he was influenced a lot by those old Soviet heads who basically believed in the Soviet Union, and so that's what's led Russia back down that pathway to becoming modernizing their military and becoming strong and becoming an agent against America. You know?
Con. All right, so I wanted to just go ahead and skip ahead because that was the point I wanted to capture from that time period, was basically we see these two aggressive powers coming against each other. And as we read along in the book of Revelation, it's a continued progression. And you see all these other prophecies from the whole Old Testament light up. We literally see that light up in real life, right?
Yep. He's gonna say, isn't this where he speaks about Bill Clinton? Or we missed that bit?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Where
he says, what does he say?
You know where he says he had that unofficial meeting with Bill Clinton to join NATO?
I think that's later on.
Okay, Con. I missed that.
Where he's asking him, wouldn't you have joined NATO? He was just like, we wanted to, but you know, because he starts talking about NATO
Okay, yeah, you're right. I misread this thing. All right, cool, Khan.
All right. So I'm just gonna skip. Hopefully I don't miss that part. I'm gonna start a little bit ahead right here.
Did you want to read Ezekiel 38 with the hooks?
In a minute.
Okay, Khan.
Because it's just gonna keep progressing to where he's like, man, because when he starts to talk about Russian military power and really go in on that, okay?
Khan.
And it brings that scripture right off the page, man. It's like, wow, you know. Yeah, here we go. I think it's on this clip actually.
Such a global strategic security challenge together. The world will change. We'll probably have disputes, probably economic and even political ones, but we could drastically change the situation in the world. He says yes, and asks, are you serious? I said, of course. We need to think about it, I'm told. I said, go ahead, please. Then Secretary of Defense Gates, former director of CIA, and Secretary of State Rice came in here, in this cabinet, right here at this table. They sat on this table. Me, the foreign minister, the Russian defense minister on that side. They said to me, yes, we have thought about it. We agree. I said, thank God, great. But with some exceptions.
So twice you've described US presidents making decisions and then being undercut by their agency heads. So it sounds like you're describing a system that's not run by the people who are elected in your telling.
That's right. That's right. In the end, they just told us to get lost. I'm not going to tell you the details because I think it's incorrect. After all, it was confidential conversation. But our proposal was declined. That's a fact. It was right then when I said, look, but then we will be forced to take countermeasures. We will create such strike systems that will certainly...
See, boom. So he said, tried to negotiate with the Bush administration and those before them. But since y'all don't want to deal, y'all forcing us to, take countermeasures.
This was about the so-called missile defense system, right?
Yes, this is about the missile defense systems. Hold on, just 1 second, bro. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I have time to look. Okay. What room you in?
I'm in room 5.
Okay, I'll be there. Just
Thank you. I have
okay. Boy, Sadie, boy, leave me alone. I'm gonna play this clip and then I'm gonna let you cook on it, okay, bro? I gotta go downstairs and do an exam real quick on this patient.
Okay, Khan.
We overcome missile defense systems. The answer was, we're not doing this against you, and you do what you want, assuming that it is not against us, not against the United States. I said, okay, very well. That's the way it went. And we created hypersonic systems with intercontinental range, and we continue to develop them. We are now ahead of everyone, the United States and the other countries, in terms of the development of hypersonic strike systems, and we are improving them every day. But it wasn't us. We proposed to go the other way, and we were pushed back.
See that? So now that pushed them to start to move forward with their power systems, you know what I mean? And that's how they became a guard unto the earth, But I'm gonna let you cook on that. I'll be right back, bro.
Yeah, Khan. Yeah, so that was another example of there was an opportunity there for the whole "we are the world, we are the future" thing to go down, but the Spirit of the Lord had it where it ain't supposed to be like that. Right? The Lord has it where these elites and them he's got them fostering this enmity. All right, according to their Hegelian dialectic. Because remember, this whole different ideology, this is all set up by the elites, but the Lord is controlling the elites. Because just while the brother's gone, we can go into some real quick history. You go back into the Bolshevik Revolution, and Lenin and all these guys, and how communism came over there to Russia. The Bolsheviks were from America. Okay, so that ideology was inserted into Russia. And so they set up two opposing ideologies, capitalism and communism. But when you really break it down at the end of the day, both communism and capitalism are systems, are corrupt systems, which are run and controlled by the elite. But they use these different opposing systems against each other, or the Abkeo to try and bring through their new world order. But the thing is that it's, hey, there's a scripture, one of my favorite scriptures, Job, the 5th chapter. Let's get that real quick. They think they're in control, but what they're going to find out is that the Most High was using them, and it's not going to come to the conclusion that they're looking for. All right, they think they can control this, but that is the pride of man. The pride of man is always to believe that he is the one which is in control. But the truth is, the Most High is the one that's always in control. His plan or his counsel is the one that really comes to pass. Right? Even when you think you're getting what you want, you ain't really getting what you want. This is Job, the 5th chapter and verse 12. He says, he disappointeth the devices of the crafty. Now, when you look up that word for crafty in Job 5 and 12 in the Hebrew, it's the same word used for subtlety as describing the serpent. All right, the crafty represents that serpent, that old serpent, man, that devil, which really, if you want to bring it, what's the head of that serpent? The elites, right? The word devices means plans. What's their plan? The New World Order. They want to use chaos and war and conflicts of ideologies and so forth to bring forth their New World Order. But what's really going to happen is America is going to be destroyed, the system is going to be destroyed, and Yahweh Shai is going to come and light them up and put them in slavery. All right, it says, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Because all that's going to happen is just prophecy. Not their prophecy, but the Lord's prophecy. All right. Another scripture is oh, you back up? I was going to give a scripture real quick. Daniel's 4 and 17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. You got to understand that geopolitics and conspiracies and the mechanizations of men in councils ain't nothing new. This has been the way of the world from the beginning, yet still, who's the one that's really been in control of all that? From since before the Babylonians and after the Babylonians, the rise and fall of kingdoms, all those councils and plans, and who was in control so that prophecy could be fulfilled? Who the one that made Alexander make that decision?
Mm-hmm.
Who was in those councils? On both sides. The Most High is playing chess with all the pieces. Just like with these elites, the Russians, the Americans, everybody's on the Lord's board. All right? It says that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men, meaning the guy that's at the bottom. And that's actually what's going to happen. The Lord's going to take the guy that's at the bottom and put them on the top, which is us. And he's going to get these guys to mess themselves up, and we're watching it play out. Because they could be at peace together and everything would be cool.
They was trying. He keeps going over that fact. He's like, man, I was trying, bro. But I had to get my hands ready, you know? And it's just like a brother said, he was beating his chest over how sophisticated their hypersonic missile systems are. He was like, yeah, we ready.
Anyway, go on now. You back.
Oh, man, salvation of the elect, put Proverbs 21 and 1 in GNT. The Lord controls the mind of a king as easily as he directs the course of a stream. That's right. That's right. So when we see these decisions, these perpetual decisions for war, and it's just like, why? Why don't he have peace? The Most High don't want him to have peace. It ain't happening. Okay.
Yeah, the Lord put a proud spirit on specifically on Babylon, on America. And he tells you that in the scripture, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And you can see that even now that the one that's really pushing this thing is really America. Them other little minions, they just want to chill. But America, they got that American exceptionalism, they got that pride. Oh boy.
They refuse to stop. It ain't happening. All right. So is that the point you wanted to make there?
Yeah, Khan, we could keep going.
Khan.
Now, about NATO's expansion to the east. Well, we were promised no NATO to the east, not an inch to the east, as we were told. And then what? They said, well, it's not enshrined on paper, so we'll expand. So there were 5 waves of expansion.
Boom. So he talks about NATO expansion, everything like that. I'm gonna skip ahead, okay?
Come on.
That's what.
And that's basically once you start to see the solidification of these NATO powers, and along with the EU bloc and them starting to really dominate and control, not just with military might, but they're dominating the world economically as well. Formulating pacts, formulating trade organizations, and everything like that. All of these things were hand in hand since the time of World War II. Okay.
But it would have been. It's just that the US political leadership pushed us to the line we could not cross, because doing so.
See, it said pushed us to a line that we cannot cross. Okay, that's those hooks being put back in their jaws. We read about. Okay.
So could have ruined Russia itself. Besides, we could not leave our brothers in faith, in fact, a part of Russian people, in the face of this war machine.
What was but that was 8 years before the current conflict started. So what was the trigger for you? What was the moment where you decided you had to do that?
Спровоцировал конфликт изначально.
Initially, it was the coup in Ukraine that provoked the conflict. By the way, back then the representatives of 3 European countries, Germany, Poland, and France, arrived.
Now, when you study this and the recent events that's going on, you're going to consistently see these 3 names pop up: Germany, Poland, and France. All right. Now, Germany and France are in NATO. They're part of the Western cabal, so to speak. But they're kind of in between. When we do these lessons on this, where they're politically they're on the side of the West in the United States, but economically they're kind of getting done dirty. And Russia really is their best economic interest. So Putin is looking at Germany and France like, why y'all being some hoes? I'm like, why y'all acting like some marks, bro? Y'all know it's better over here. Just, you know what I'm saying?
They were the guarantors of the signed agreement between the government of Yanukovych and the opposition. They signed it as guarantors. Despite that, the opposition committed a coup, and all these countries pretended that they didn't remember that they were guarantors of the peaceful settlement. They just threw it in the stove right away, and nobody recalls that. I don't know if the US know anything about the agreement between the opposition and the authorities, and its 3 guarantors who, instead of bringing this whole situation back in the political field, supported the coup. Although it was meaningless, believe me, because President Yanukovych agreed to all conditions. He was ready to hold an early election, which he had no chance of winning, frankly speaking. Everyone knew that. Then why the coup? Why the victims? Why threatening Crimea? Why launching an operation in Donbass? This I do not understand. That is exactly what the miscalculation is. CIA did its job to complete the coup.
So if y'all remember, there was this coup before this major provocation. Now, what was it, 2014? Where they basically overthrew the government that was in the Ukraine and set up a pro-Western president. Okay, but it was a bad look on their end because it was clear and obvious that it was malicious intent It was clear, obvious that there was manipulation going on. Even though you had European powers saying, "Nah, we ain't gonna let that go down," they threw their hands up and said nothing whenever it all went down. Okay. And that goes back to, Psalms 141. It says, "Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man, preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips, Selah." Okay. "Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings." Okay. And continuously we see these type of provocations. That's why I did a lesson on provocations that stir up all the nations to prepare for war, prepare for battle. Because they be wanting to chill and have economic peace, but you have situations like this that keep it from going down.
And if I could say this, we don't speak Russian, so we don't really get to see a lot of the what's happening over there. But a couple of times I run into clips, and you get people over there in Russia having debates, and you get some guys that's proper animated, man. They angry because they knew the greatness of the Soviet Union, and the way they see it is they threw away their greatness and they got nothing for it.
Right.
And
Right.
a lot of those guys are the guys who's backing Putin, and they angry. That's why Putin has brought Russia back into the old ways, projecting their military power globally. That's why they you go into what happened in Libya happened under Medvedev, because he was weak and he let America and NATO destroy Libya. But when they tried to do the same thing in Syria when Putin was in, well, you see what happened. Without delay, he deployed the troops, destroyed ISIS, and now look at Syria, secure.
Going down. A little bit more of this, and then we're gonna skip.
Come on.
I think one of the deputy secretaries of state said that it cost a large sum of money, almost 5 billion. But the political mistake was colossal. Why would they have to do that? All this could have been done legally, without victims, without military action, without losing Crimea. We would have never considered to even lift a finger if it hadn't been for the bloody developments on Maidan.
So it's like y'all forced our hand by doing a military coup, so we had to react. We would have let the next election just go ahead, and y'all would have got it. It would have been all good. But since y'all wanted to come in and throw your weight around military wise, we had to step up and show y'all what it is.
Because we agreed with the fact that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, our borders should be along the borders of former Union's republics. We agreed to that.
Somebody put that remove landmarks into the chat, Baba Kusha.
But we never agreed to NATO's expansion, and moreover, we never agreed that Ukraine would be in NATO. We did not agree to NATO bases there without any discussion with us. For decades, we kept asking, don't do this, don't do that. And what triggered the latest events? Firstly, the current Ukrainian leadership declared that it would not implement the Minsk agreements.
Boom. So I don't know if you wanted to make a point on that, bro. Because I was going to skip ahead. I don't know if the brother.
Oh, no, that's cool. Bro.
Okay, kind of, yeah, the water, bro. Job 20, brother Gmsdallas put Job 24:2. Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away the flocks and feed thereof. Gmsdallas, Shalom, Proverbs 22:28. Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set. Boom. That's what we see. That's what we see. I'm gonna skip ahead, bro. Trying to get these points. Definitely, we probably gonna have to do a part 2. People was on my head today. Right.
Let's work this out.
А чего решать? Все очень... всё
What's there to work out? It's very simple. I repeat,
Есть контакты по линии, там различные...
we have contacts through various agencies.
Я вам скажу, что мы говорим.
I will tell you what we are saying on this matter and what we are conveying to the US leadership. If you really want to stop fighting, you need to stop supplying weapons. It will be over within a few weeks. That's it. And then we can agree on some terms. Before you do that, stop. What's easier? Why would I call him? What should I talk to him about? Or beg him for what?
And what messages do you get back?
So he was talking about talking to Biden about stopping the war. He's like, what I need to talk to him about? You supplying these people weapons to fight against me. There ain't nothing to talk about. Stop supplying weapons. We can figure it out. You know? So Putin is in a mindset of completely protecting his interests, and he ain't backing down. All right, and this goes more into what we were reading about earlier about how the Most High controls the minds of the kings of the earth. Ain't no going back. Okay, I don't know if you read Ezekiel 38. I'm pretty sure you did.
No, I didn't. We could read it now. Yeah, that's cool.
Boom. When you read Ezekiel 38:2, it says, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog and the prince and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." So there's this preparation for this land for war. Just like we saw Putin say, we got the best hypersonic missile system in the land. We can destroy your anti-missile defense systems. We can get past it. We're going to make these other agreements with these other nations and make sure that they shored up. Verse 5 says, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomor of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. This is what we're saying. Are we not? Are we not listening to the man? They're preparing. They're ready. And this is why we tell everyone, this is a World War III algorithm that is going to lead to an inevitable prophesied end that's going to end and culminate in fire. Okay? Fire. Did you have anything, bro?
Nah, exactly that, man. You know how it goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Let's see what I got here. Okay.
We here for the fist ups.
That's right.
You're going to deliver such and such weapons to Ukraine. Oh, I'm afraid. Please don't. What is there to talk about?
Do you think NATO is worried?
Yeah.
Putin is real. Oh goodness, that's so good.
Yeah. Did you hear the bit in there when he was saying they had they were misguided into thinking they could win a war against Russia, and you don't know how they could think that. So it was funny, man.
Called in some kind of a global war.
Глобальная война поставить на грань.
And a global war will bring all humanity to the brink of destruction. It's obvious.
Вот. И есть, конечно, средства.
There are certainly means of deterrence. They have been scaring everyone with us all along. Tomorrow, Russia will use tactical nuclear weapons. Tomorrow, Russia will use that. No, the day after tomorrow. So what?
Выбить из налогоплательщиков
In order to
США
extort additional money from US taxpayers and European taxpayers in the confrontation with Russia in the Ukrainian theater of war.
Mhm.
The goal is to weaken Russia as much as possible.
One of our senior United States senators from the state of New York, Chuck Schumer, said yesterday, I believe, that we have to continue to fund the Ukrainian effort, or U.S. soldiers, citizens could wind up fighting there. How do you assess that?
Это провокация.
This is a provocation, and a cheap provocation at that.
Американские солдаты должны воевать.
I do not understand why American soldiers should fight in Ukraine. There are mercenaries from the United States there. The bigger number of mercenaries comes from Poland, with mercenaries from the United States in second place and mercenaries from Georgia in third place.
Безусловно.
Well, if somebody has the desire to send regular troops, that would certainly bring humanity to the brink of very serious global conflict. This is obvious. Do the United States need this? What for?
Территории. У вас нечем заниматься.
Thousands of miles away from your national territory.
Границы проблемы.
Don't you have anything better to do? You have issues on the border, issues with migration, issues with the national debt, more than $33 trillion. You have nothing better to do, so you should fight in Ukraine?
Понимая ситуацию, которая складывается.
Wouldn't it be better to negotiate with Russia, make an agreement, already understanding the situation that is developing today, realizing that Russia will fight for its interests to the end?
Boom. Realizing that Russia is gonna fight for its interest to the end. There ain't gonna be no stopping. If you ain't gonna come in there and just be able to set up missile defense systems along the border, it ain't gonna work like that. We're gonna fight. That's why it says when you skip down to Ezekiel 38:10, it says, "Thus saith the Lord power, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages." He's like, don't you got stuff to do in your place? What's going to come into, it's going to come into these people's minds to attack America, man. I will go to them that are at rest. That dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gate, to take a sport, to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods and dwell in the midst of the land. So these things are set to come. You know?
Yep. Basically, they're gonna meet you in the middle of the ring, man. They ain't trying to be like Jamel Charlo versus Canelo.
Right. Running around in a circle. You know?
And did you catch? Sorry to segue, right? Did you catch how he said to Tucker that I know that you applied to be in the CIA?
Yeah. I had caught that part.
Cause you know,
I didn't
obviously why he said that.
Yeah.
Tucker must be an asset, man.
Has to be.
Tucker's an asset. That's how it works. Oh, he applied, but he didn't get in. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They shutting me down here earlier than I expected. So what we're gonna have to do is we got about halfway through the information. I still have another half to go. What we're gonna need to do is come back and finish the second half, bro.
I bet. No worries, man. We could arrange that.
Yeah. Because they shutting down the office, and this is the only place I really have internet. Over in my hotel room, I really don't have no internet. You know, last time we tried to do it.
Yeah.
Now, if something happens and I'm able to get the internet, I will hit you up and we can jump back on if you're free. I don't know how much time you got free.
I'm good for it. Listen, man. I'm here for this, man. Let's do this. It's what it just hold on.
All right, no doubt, man. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up this first half, and we're gonna come back and do a part 2 on the rest of this interview. The water Akian for the scriptures, man. We're gonna say call hello Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Akian, out there pushing in sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Shalom.